हेलो एवरीवन, क्या हाल है आप सभी के। आई होप एकदम बढ़िया होंगे। कैसी चल रही हैं आप सभी की स्टडीज। आई नो कोरोना काफी तेजी से फैल रहा है, इसलिए सभी प्रिकॉशंस लें और सेफ रहें। स्टडीज पर अपना कंसंट्रेशन बिल्कुल लूज करने की जरूरत नहीं है। इंग्लिश काफी इंपॉर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट है, इसलिए स्टार्टिंग से इस पर फोकस बनाकर चलिएगा। आज हम डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं आपकी बुक विस्टास का चैप्टर ऑन द फेस ऑफ इट से रिलेटेड एनसीईआरटी क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर्स। अर्लियर हम इस चैप्टर को ऑलरेडी डिटेल में कवर कर चुके हैं। इन केस आप लोगों ने नहीं देखा है तो जरूर जाकर देखिएगा। एंड डू नॉट फॉरगेट टू लाइक एंड सब्सक्राइब द चैनल लर्न करो क्लास 11 एंड 12। और मैं हूं श्रेया, आपकी इंग्लिश मेंटर। ऑलराइट, सो क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर्स डिस्कस करने से पहले हम जान लेते हैं अबाउट द मेन कैरेक्टर्स ऑफ द स्टोरी इन शॉर्ट। तो इसमें दो मेन कैरेक्टर्स हैं, मिस्टर लैम्ब और डेरी। मिस्टर लैम्ब कौन है? ही इज एन ओल्ड क्रिपल who enjoys life despite handicap। cripple क्यों बोला गया है उन्हें? Because he was having a thin leg। Next आते हैं डेरी। डेरी is a 14-year-old boy whose one side of the face is disfigured in an accident। Reclusive at first sight, he learns how to live from Mr. Lamb। So आपका first NCERT question है, this is a play featuring an old man जो कि कौन है? मिस्टर लैम्ब, and a small boy जो कि कौन है? डेरी, meeting in the farmer's garden। farmer का मतलब क्या होता है? फर्स्ट वाला। तो यहाँ पर ओल्ड मैन जो कि मिस्टर लैम्ब है, उनके गार्डन में इनकी फर्स्ट मीटिंग होती है। and the old man strikes up a friendship with the boy जो कि डेरी है, who is very withdrawn and defiant। What is the bond that unites the two? तो कौन सा बॉन्ड है जो इन दोनों को यूनाइट करता है? उन दोनों में ही एक हैंडीकैप प्रेजेंट था। अब क्या था, आइए जानते हैं। मिस्टर लैम्ब एंड डेरी हैड डिफरेंट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू अबाउट लाइफ। जैसे कि जो मिस्टर लैम्ब थे वो काफी ऑप्टिमिस्टिक थे, लेकिन जो डेरी था वो काफी पेसिमिस्टिक था। As Mr. Lamb has a positive view while Derry's attitude is totally negative। Although Mr. Lamb and Derry are totally different from each other, the bond that unites them is the bond that physically disabled or disfigured। क्योंकि Mr. Lamb का एक leg was made up of tin and Derry का half face disfigured था। Both are made fun by the various people because of their disadvantage or handicap। Mr. Lamb had a tin leg because he had lost the leg in war and people make fun of him due to this। Even then he does not change his positive thinking towards life and he lived his life to the fullest। लेकिन on the other hand poor boy Derry है। Derry has a disfigured face due to the acid having fallen on one side of his face, जिसकी वजह से उसका half side of the face disfigure हो चुका है। Derry's bird face makes him want to run away from the society। इसलिए वो अपने आप को seclude कर देना चाहता है लोगों से। But when he meets Mr. Lamb, he gets to know how one should live one's life, and because it is very precious, life is very precious, and this change in Derry also helped him to create a bond with Mr. Lamb. This common predicament has united them both। So next question is, who is Mr. Lamb and how does Derry get into his garden? So Mr. Lamb कौन थे? Mr. Lamb is an old man who lives in a big house all alone। He has no family and he lost one of his leg in the explosion at the war। As Derry was walking past Mr. Lamb's garden, he felt the place was isolated। उसे लगा वहां पे कोई भी नहीं है, और क्योंकि डेरी को अकेले रहना पसंद करता था, that's why he get into the garden by climbing over the garden wall। Next question you have, do you think all this will change Derry's attitude toward Mr. Lamb? Then Derry's attitude towards life itself will entirely change। क्योंकि जैसी थिंकिंग थी मिस्टर लैम्ब की वो डेरी की कंप्लीटली ऑपोजिट थी। Further, Mr. Lamb was able to show him bright side of life। जो डेरी था वो अब तक सारी नेगेटिव चीजों पर ज्यादा फोकस करता था, लेकिन मिस्टर लैम्ब ने उसे काफी एग्जाम्पल्स देने के बाद उसको लाइफ की पॉजिटिविटी के बारे में समझाया। डेरी was informed totally and developed a new understanding about his life। जैसे कि मिस्टर लैम्ब ने उसको काफी एग्जाम्पल्स दिए थे of the bees, of the weeds, of the bees, etc. And accordingly his attitude toward Mr. Lamb will also change and he will discover Mr. Lamb as his friend। Next question you have, what is that draws Derry toward Mr. Lamb in spite of himself? So Derry finds Mr. Lamb quite different from other people जिनसे वो usually अब तक मिला करता था. He is impressed by the old man's talk about beauty and the beast, जो कि ब्यूटी और बीस्ट की कहानी तो डेरी को अब तक बहुत से लोगों ने समझाई थी, लेकिन पर्सपेक्टिव जो मिस्टर लैम्ब का था वो काफी डिफरेंट था अदर लोगों से. एंड the old man talk about how the world will change its attitude toward dairy. उन्हें लगता था कि अगर डेयरी अपने आप को इम्पोर्टेंस दे तो फिर लोगों का एटीट्यूड भी उसके प्रति चेंज हो जाएगा. मिस्टर लैम्ब्स कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, the friendship, not believing everything that we hear, and the story about the timid man who locked himself inside a room, or then he died later on because a painting over the wall fell over him. And the like sound peculiar to Derry. वो सब डेरी को काफी सरप्राइजिंग लगता था, लेकिन but interested him also. भले ही वो काफी सरप्राइजिंग था, लेकिन डेरी को उसमें इंटरेस्ट भी आता था. He understands the underlying message that Mr. Lamb has given. So he is encouraged by Mr. Lamb's world when he say, "You will get on the way you want and leave all the rest." Gradually, Derry is able to shed his inhibitions, his insecurities, fears and complexes, जो कि अब तक बहुत ज़्यादा ridden हो चुका था Derry by all these negative elements of the life. The talk with Mr. Lamb in the beginning of his transformation, that's the reason for Derry saying, "You don't know what I could do." Besides, Derry is also drawn towards Mr. Lamb because both of them have a suffering, loss and humiliation, and they are also isolated and lonely by some or the other way. Next question you have, in which section of the play does Mr. Lamb display signs of loneliness and disappointment? Clearly तो Mr. Lamb इन बातों को नहीं दिखा रहे थे कहीं ना कहीं, लेकिन हमें चैप्टर में ये फील होता है. So, what are the ways in which Mr. Lamb tries to overcome these feelings of loneliness and disappointment? So, Mr. Lamb lives all alone in a huge house as he is having no family. He has no one for company, neither a family nor friends. In spite of all this, he is happy because the neighborhood children come to his garden for stealing the apples. He also used to give him candies made out of those apples. He spends most of his time watching, listening and thinking. ये तीन चीजें वो usually daily ही practice किया करते थे. This shows that he lacked human company. When Derry asked him to name some of his friends, then the old man is at loss. क्योंकि particularly तो कोई friends थे नहीं मिस्टर लैम्ब के. वो बोलते हैं कि जो भी बच्चे या जो भी लोग उनके गार्डन में आते हैं सभी उनके फ्रेंड्स हैं. At the end of the scene 1, when Derry promises to Mr. Lamb that he'll return, as he rushes home, we hear Mr. Lamb say or telling himself that we all know I'll come back, and they never do, though not them, never do come back. कि सभी कहते हैं कि वो वापस आएंगे, लेकिन वो वापस नहीं आते हैं, और ऐसे ही probably तुम भी करोगे. Thus, although Derry promises to come back, Mr. Lamb does not believe him. At that particular time, जबकि Derry बोल रहा था कि वो वापस आएगा, लेकिन Mr. Lamb उसकी बात नहीं मान रहे थे. And the words spoken by Mr. Lamb reveal his deepest feeling of loneliness. कि सभी बोलते हैं कि वो वापस आएंगे, लेकिन वो वापस नहीं आते. So although Derry does come back, it is too late for Mr. Lamb, and probably he is dead when Derry arrives. Next question is, the actual pain or inconvenience caused by a physical impairment is often much less than the sense alienation यानी कि seclusion felt by the person with disabilities, जो कि यहाँ पे दोनों में ही present थी, मिस्टर लैम्ब में और डेरी में. What is the kind of behavior that the person expects from others or from the society? So the actual pain of inconvenience due to physical impairment is often much less than the sense of alienation. जो कि physical impairment का pain होता है, it is much less than the sense of alienation felt by the people with disabilities, and which is made them felt by the society. It creates a feeling of loneliness in the physical disabled persons, and people in the society make him realize that he is not like them and maintain a distance from them. So a person with physical disability like a thin leg या फिर half burnt face can live a life of respect and honor like any other person if he is not ridiculed or pitied by the society. If everyone else look at such persons in a negative way, they can never break out their seclusion from the world. So we should help them, we should motivate them. They expect other people to respect them for what they are, instead of continuously reminding them of how they are different from the other ones who are completely normal. Here, Mr. Lamb understands his situation and copes with it easily because he is mature. And whereas Derry, who is only 14 years old, boy is not mature enough to cope up with the predicament and he is psychologically disturbed. That is why he liked Mr. Lamb, who after meeting him for the first time, the person with the physical impairment expects normal behavior from others. He wants others to respect him instead of pitying him. Alright, next question is, will Derry get back to his old seclusion, or will Mr. Lamb's brief association affect a change in the kind of life he will lead in the future? So, suffering from a physical impairment, Derry had become a pessimistic, yani ki negative approach toward life situations. But after he met Mr. Lamb, he gradually began to see the bright side of the life. Now he is changing, he is transforming. He realized that in the form of Mr. Lamb, he had found a true friend who has shown him the right approach toward his life, जो कि earlier उसे किसी ने नहीं दिखाई थी. A brief association with Mr. Lamb boosted Derry's self-confidence and made him respect himself, जो कि वो अब तक नहीं करता था. The new self-esteem brought about a major change in Derry, and he told his mother that अब उसके looks इतना matter नहीं करते हैं. A change has certainly come in Derry's attitude toward himself and toward the life in general, all round. Then it is unlikely that he will revert to his past schedule life. And even with Mr. Lamb's probable death at the end of the story, in fact, he will not now lead a more active. Now he will lead a more active life with the positive thoughts given to him by Mr. Lamb. Mr. Lamb, because was the person who taught him the correct approach toward the life. Now he is converted into an optimistic boy. That's how we have covered the NCERT question and answers of this particular chapter. By LearnKaro Premium subscription, you can attend live classes from anywhere, anytime. You can analyze your own performance as you will get personalized students reports. Entire study material आपको provide कराया जाएगा in PDF format. In case अगर आपको अकेले पढ़ना काफी boring लगता हो, monotonous लगता हो, then you will be enrolled in classes along with your peer groups. You can attend doubt clearing sessions and you can also attend live tests, quizzes and assignments. Download LearnKaro, the live learning app, and you may also join us on Telegram. दोनों के ही links description box में provided है. I shall meet you in the next class. Till that time, keep studying, stay safe, all the best. Bye bye.